Superfoods are everywhere. On the internet, on TV, in supermarkets.
We're spending more on healthy eating than ever before, and food producers know it. As consumers get smarter, superfood claims get bigger. They say they'll make you fitter.
Does this stuff really do the do?
Smarter.
So this is your brain.
Ooh, look at that.
Younger.
Do you mind if I ask you how old you are?
47. We're bombarded by words like antioxidants, phytochemicals, flavonols. But what does it all mean?
I'm on a global quest for the truth behind the hype.
Hello, Morocco.
Investigating.
How do you turn this boiled soybean into natto?
Testing.
What is it?
And participating in the latest cutting-edge science.
That's my liver, gosh.
It's time to put superfoods under the microscope.
Do you think this is a superfood?
To help you decide if they really are super.
This week, I'm in Japan to find out if the secret of youth is a fermented soybean.
You're looking incredible for 96.
And discover if a glass of red wine really can help the grey matter.
I want to keep mine like that.
First, as a nation, we get through 500,000 tonnes a year. It's the tomato.
Superfoods don't have to be new or exotic. Most of us have these in our kitchens all year round. Now, the tomato is a great source of vitamins A, C and K, but studies are showing that this little guy could well become a foot soldier in the fight against cancer.
To find out more about tomatoes' cancer-busting potential, I'm en route to Italy, and down there,
Tomato heaven.
in the shadow of Vesuvius, the ancient city of Naples. And here, one overriding passion has been passed from generation to generation. A deep love of the tomato.
Do you eat a lot of tomatoes?
Sì,
Do you eat a lot of tomatoes?
every day, yeah.
Do you love tomatoes?
Come le donne.
And it's possible Neapolitan men may be gaining one massive health benefit from their voracious appetite for tomatoes.
If you compare the UK and Italy, a similar number of men are diagnosed with prostate cancer each year. But here in Italy, the chances of survival are much, much higher.
With 50,000 new cases every year, cancer of the prostate is one of the most common forms of the disease affecting older men in the UK. But why is the survival rate from prostate cancer so much higher in Italy?
Oh, buongiorno.
Here at Naples University, Dr. Paola Vitaglione thinks she has found a connection between eating tomatoes and surviving prostate cancer.
Paola, is there a link between tomatoes and your very low death rate when it comes to prostate cancer?
Yes, the link is that tomato is very rich of lycopene. That is a antioxidant compound linked to protecting prostate from cancer.
Our bodies contain unstable molecules called free radicals, which can disrupt healthy cells, leading to cancer and heart disease. These free radicals can be neutralized by antioxidants. One of the most common antioxidants is vitamin C.
If we can eat antioxidant-rich food, we can help to fight against these radicals.
Lycopene is the red pigment in tomatoes. To show that red is best, Dr. Paola is going to test the lycopene levels in ripe and unripe tomatoes.
So we will use extract from red tomato, and we will use the extract from green tomatoes, and we will see how they differently work on free radicals.
Paola adds a sample of the red and the green extracts to a blue solution containing harmful free radicals. The more free radical busting lycopene there is, the clearer the liquid will become.
Oh,
You can tell that.
that was very quick.
So if you're after lycopene, the redder your tomato, the more powerful the free radical busting effect.
So this guy, he's got no lycopene,
Yes,
but this red one, loads of stuff.
lots.
So why is lycopene particularly effective when it comes to the prostate?
We have evidence that lycopene can block inflammation, and it can also block some factors influencing tumor growth in the prostate.
In men, the prostate sits under the bladder and is slightly bigger than a walnut. Cancerous tumours can start to grow inside the prostate and spread. Paola's research has evidence that lycopene prevents the blood supply feeding the tumour, slowing down and in some cases stopping the cancer entirely.
So how much lycopene do we need to eat in order to have that beneficial effect?
15 tomatoes per day can reduce the risk.
So you need to eat 15 of these a day.
Yes.
Now, that amount might not faze your average man in Naples, but it's a big ask for most blokes in Britain. But don't despair. Paola has promised me there's a way of getting the recommended dose of lycopene without eating 15 tomatoes every day.
Ah, Carmela!
Carmela wears the trousers in this kitchen
She's a good boss.
Allora,
Yeah?
and knows precisely how to turn tomatoes into a truly tantalising dose of lycopene.
quando tu cucini senza chiame e cucini con amore.
Amore. There's a lot of love in this sauce,
lot of love.
babes. Oh, have I got a little treat for you, Paola?
Paola's research reveals simply cooking tomatoes has a very profound effect on their level of lycopene.
So how much more lycopene do you get out of a tomato when you cook it?
Double amount than the raw tomato.
That is so surprising because you kind of think, well, raw is best.
That is what makes a tomato special.
So, is tomato a superfood? Well, evidence is mounting that these could pack a punch against prostate cancer and other types of cancer. And the good news is you don't have to come all the way to Naples to enjoy a delicious tomato sauce.
Good old tomato soup and even tomato ketchup are both processed foods that provide at least double the amount of lycopene than their equivalent weight of raw tomatoes. But beware of the salt and sugar content.
Japanese cuisine is incredibly popular all around the world, and you can find it on most high streets. Now, one of the key ingredients is the soya bean.
These beans have now spread far beyond Asia. In the UK, soya is widely available as tofu, soy milk, soy sauce, and edamame beans.
But I've heard that there's one soya product that has powerful health benefits, and it might even be a superfood. It's called Natto, and the Japanese love it. I think I've got to go to the motherland.
My visit to Japan coincides with the first day of spring, a time when the Japanese believe evil spirits are at large. To ward them off, local dignitaries throw soybeans from the balconies of Buddhist and Shinto temples.
Thousands of people are going to descend on this temple. Oh my goodness, it is raining beans.
Apparently, the beans bring good fortune, but you have to catch the same number as your age.
I'm going to nick my director's cap. Okay, right, George. Yes! Boom! Okay. Okay, first win in the pocket.
But these soybeans aren't just lucky. They are really nutritious.
I think that's it.
But I've heard that the soybeans in natto pack an even bigger punch.
Do you ever eat natto?
Natto.
Natto! Do you know where natto comes from?
City is Mito.
I think I've got to get myself to Mito and eat some natto.
Yes.
I am very excited. I'm about to board the Shinkansen, the bullet train. We're going to fly across the countryside at 200 miles an hour, and we're all getting on in a very civilised manner. This is not London, Victoria. I half expected my face to be stuck to my seat with the G-force.
I'm heading to Mito City, 60 miles northeast of Tokyo, to a natto factory where I'll see just what's so special about these soybeans.
Konnichiwa! So you're making natto here?
Yes.
Can we see?
Free.
First, the soybeans are soaked for 12 hours, then boiled in a giant pressure cooker.
So how do you turn this boiled soybean into natto?
今からあるものをかけます。それを見せてあげる。
A secret little something?
A little magic.
Magic! I'm in.
The magic ingredient is a bacteria that comes from straw. And that's how natto is traditionally packaged.
So why do you put it into this big cupboard?
そう発酵させてビタミン K2 を作るためにこの中に入れます。
The bacteria breaks down the protein in the bean and they ferment, creating vitamin K2. It's this vitamin that sets natto apart from ordinary soybeans.
Can we see it when it's finished?
出来上がった納豆17時間経ちました。出来上がった納豆です。
There it is! Oh, and look! It's so sticky.
There's only one thing for it. I've got to taste it. I've been invited to dinner by a local family who have natto on the menu every single day.
Konnichiwa!
How do you do?
Oh, very well. What a beautiful home.
Kyoto's serving the natto with a selection of Japanese delicacies.
Konnichiwa.
Her father-in-law is the senior member of the family and a lifelong fan of natto.
Would he mind terribly if I asked him how old he is?
96歳です。
Wow. You're looking incredible for 96.
子供の頃からね、納豆食べてますから。
If I could look like you at 96, I am definitely eating natto every day.
Time to dig in.
Wow. Tastes like little beans of beer. The flavour, I like. The texture is something like I've never quite experienced. It is stuck to my face right now.
Coming up, I get scanned to learn how these sticky beans can strengthen our bones.
I'm off to get my results. Fingers crossed.
And in France, I investigate the effect of red wine on the brain.
So this is my prescription.
Coming up, I'm in France, hoping that red wine could be good for my brain.
Look at that.
But first, I'm in Japan, acquiring a taste for the fermented soybean they call natto.
Wow.
Rich in vitamin K2, natto's claiming superfood status thanks to the effect it apparently has on our bones. But do the doctors here agree? I've come to one of Tokyo's leading bone clinics to find out.
Thank you.
I'm being scanned for signs of osteoporosis, a condition where bones become brittle, and the natto might be able to help. I should hopefully be okay at my age, but 1 in 3 women over the age of 50 will experience bone fractures as a result of osteoporosis.
Right, I'm off to get my results. Fingers crossed.
Hello.
Ah, konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Dr. Hosoi is a specialist in geriatric medicine and osteoporosis.
So how are my bones looking?
Your bone is very good, very healthy.
That's encouraging.
Thankfully, my spine is in good shape. But if you compare it with the spine of an osteoporosis sufferer, you can see the difference.
So if that was my spine and I had a fall, I could break my back.
That's right.
As we get older, our bones can become brittle and break. Natto is full of vitamin K2, which stimulates a protein called osteocalcin. This protein encourages bone-building cells called osteoblasts, which make bones stronger and more flexible, so reducing the risk of fractures. In Japan, brittle bones are a bigger problem in some areas than others.
You can see the difference of colors. So this area in pink or yellow, the incidence of hip fracture is higher compared to this area.
Dr. Hasoi thinks the high incidence of hip fractures in Western Japan is easily explained.
People in Western part do not like natto.
Oh.
They don't like the smell of natto or the texture of natto.
Gosh, that's astonishing.
Yeah.
So in Eastern Japan, where they eat a lot of natto, they have really healthy bones.
That's right.
So, Dr. Hasoi, do you think that natto is a superfood?
Yes. Natto is a superfood in Japan.
Here in the UK, 3 million people suffer with osteoporosis, with hip fractures costing the NHS £1 billion a year. As natto contains more bone-boosting vitamin K2 than any other food on the planet, I think its superfood credentials are pretty good. And although it's an acquired taste, if you're an adventurous diner, I would definitely give natto a go. I love it. And you can get it in Asian supermarkets in most big cities and in Japanese restaurants like this one. In the 90s, red wine was linked to better heart health. What's more, last year it was reported that red wine could even boost the brain as well. So I've hopped across the channel to France, where they drink twice as much of this stuff as we do, to find out if it really can help your grey matter.
Many believe the French owe their good health, at least in part, to their love of red wine. I've come to the Museum of Wine in Paris to meet expert Azalina Jaboulet-Vercher, who knows all about the French tradition of drinking wine to stay healthy.
Look at all of this wine. So, how long has there been a connection between wine and good health?
I would say since the 5th century.
So, a very, very long time.
For centuries, doctors would prescribe specific wines depending on their patient's personality and appearance.
Oh, that packs a punch. So what would this wine be good for?
From the color, from the nose, maybe a fighter, because that gives courage, they believed.
Would it have been given to warriors?
Yes, to a fighter, to a knight.
People going into battle? Mm-hmm. If you looked at me and you were a medieval physician, what would you prescribe?
I would go for a lighter red.
So why is this a good prescription for me?
You need to maintain your intellectual speed and strength.
Right.
Silver dishes were used to show up the shade of the wine.
What were they looking for in the colour?
They were looking for the brightness, this specific brightness that would cheer up your mind.
So the brighter the wine, the brighter it would make your mind?
That's what they used to believe.
Could today's headlines about red wine simply be confirmation of an age-old wisdom about wine fortifying the mind? I've come to King's College London for some 21st century science.
Hi, Sandrine.
Nice to meet you.
Neurobiologist Sandrine Thuray is studying compounds and activities that might slow or halt brain deterioration. Sandrine is sending me for a brain scan so she can look at my hippocampus, the part of the brain that might be affected by red wine.
So this is your brain.
Oh, look at that.
So here we have your hippocampus that you can see here.
It's also the part where new memories are formed.
As you'd expect for someone my age.
Yeah, everything was fine.
Thankfully, my hippocampus is in good shape. But if you look at an older person's scan, you can see how it can change with age.
Here you have the hippocampus of an aging brain. So you can see that there's a dramatic size reduction for this person here.
Gosh, it looks about half the size.
Yes.
The hippocampus used to fill this white space, but has now shrunk to just the coloured bit.
So you want to keep your hippocampus healthy because it's important for memory formation.
Which makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, as you get older, your memory can start to fail. I want to keep mine like that.
Yeah, so that's possible.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sandrine has been investigating a compound found in red wine called resveratrol. She wants to know if it could help us make more new brain cells, which would keep the hippocampus nice and plump. To find out, she's been doing experiments on real human brain cells from the hippocampus.
Wow, that's incredible.
These cells are a special type that can multiply, forming new brain cells called neurons.
So what has red wine got to do with this?
So one of the compounds of red wine is resveratrol. And what we wanted to do in the lab is actually add resveratrol directly to our cells to see the effect of this compound on the cells and see what's happening. Should I show you?
Ah, interesting. Let's go.
In these images, the original cells are blue, while new brain cells are marked in red.
So in this panel here, so these are normal cells, so they are not treated with resveratrol. But then, when we add resveratrol, you can see that we increase the proportion of these cells that are becoming neurons.
Gosh, there's a lot more.
Yeah, there is a lot more. Yeah, twice as much new neurons.
So just how much red wine would I have to drink to get enough resveratrol to give me the full brain boost?
It would be the equivalent of drinking like 13 bottles of wine per day.
13?
Yes, so that would be massive.
Well, you can't do that.
No, you cannot do that.
I mean, the alcohol's going to kill off brain cells, isn't it?
Exactly. But I think if you enjoy a glass of wine maybe every day or every other day as part of a healthy lifestyle, this is totally reasonable.
We just can't seem to make up our minds about red wine. Is it good for us or isn't it? Well, the jury is still out. Resveratrol, however, is a different matter, and research is showing that it could be effective in age-related memory loss.
So if it's a healthy hippocampus you want, oily fish, blueberries, running, sleeping, and sex are all shown to boost our memory. Next time, I discover whether coconut water is really super hydrating.
Time to fill this little bad boy up.
I head to Japan to investigate whether there's such a thing as a super brew.
Wow, we are definitely in tea country.
And I head to Northern Africa.
Hello, Morocco.
To meet the new kid on the superfood block.
Well, a new series starts Thursday night at 10. Ramsey's Hotel Hell. He's in Idaho trying to get one couple to pull up their socks. Tomorrow night at 9, Ricky Tomlinson is just one of the 3 born on the same day. How lives have ebbed and flowed since. Next tonight, one cyclist and no helmet asking for trouble. It's 24 hours in A&E.